All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Tipple's virtual wine tasting. Thank you for joining us this week. We're Elizabeth and Jeff Beaudre from Tipple's
Hi.
Brews and Wines, Gainesville, Florida. And this week we are drinking the Sequoia Grove, Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. So what's something, it's an easy winner, right? But we don't jump into Napa Valley all the time. We're getting into Christmas time to up our game on wine selections, I say, for ourselves, not just as gifts. So hence, I forced your hand tonight. If you're going to be with me, you're going to drink well because, doggone it, you earned it.
Yeah, there
That's
you go.
right.
So I do like that the label has Christmas trees on it,
Right?
to go along with the whole
That kinda
like
works.
wintry theme as well.
It's
so,
totally why that
holiday
happened.
theme.
Completely why I chose it.
I didn't
Absolutely.
It was like in conjunction with,
Yeah,
hey, I really want everyone to try this wine, and isn't it great that it's kind of Christmassy? Or
absolutely.
Marker and put some bulbs on it.
All right. So let's go ahead and jump to the first one.
Okay.
All right. So here we are. The Sequoia Grove Cabernet Sauvignon, Napa Valley. Ratings. James Suckling, 92. Food pairings in this guy. Let's go ahead and pour glasses. You guys pour. I'm pouring for Elizabeth. It's that time. There you go.
Always a generous pour for Elizabeth. I appreciate that.
Well, especially when it comes to Cabernet Sauvignon night. So, all right, that's pretty. All right, food pairings on this guy. Parmesan and mushroom gnocchi, cheddar bacon twice baked potato, beef Wellington, and steak crostini with pate and truffles. You can get all savory and tasty with this guy.
I'm wondering about like the whole period after potato. Was that like?
Yes, it was important.
Well, I don't know. The Gen Z child that we had told us that punctuation is rude.
Yeah, right.
So,
I don't know how that snuck in there. I must be showing my age. Anyway,
as long as you put the double space after the period, you're
right.
fine.
There you go. So once again, I mentioned these pairings last week. They're just a smattering. Obviously, steak works. It's Cabernet Sauvignon, right? But I always try to become a little more, playful than that with what we have. And my favorite thing would work.
A blue cheese bacon cheeseburger.
Boom, there you go.
Yes, absolutely.
We have a chat. Boo.
I don't know what Jerry was booing.
I'm not sure either.
Boo for the punctuation.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. That makes sense.
Would you like?
Good. Somebody jumped in. Excellent.
Stop then.
Stop
right?
the share,
Okay.
please.
All right.
Time to jump back.
Okay. Oh, the group.
All right, here we are.
But Julie and Brian still have not made
They
it.
probably haven't made it home yet. So
Okay.
anyway, so we've gone through the food pairings,
Mhm.
a little bit of what the one expert thought about this, which was highly.
Mhm.
Let's take us, time to smell the aromas and take a sip, see what we think. Well, that is delightful. So
That's very nice.
this is, well, actually, you know what? I think I'll cover this next part. I normally do it now, but I'm going to do it when we talk about the label.
Okay. All right.
So, age worthiness on this one.
Mhm.
All right. So we can cover now. It was barrel aged 20 months in French oak,
Okay.
and 50% of that was new. So we have half of it was new oak. That's going to be more reactive.
Mhm.
The French oak is more subtle, more bringing out spice and taming the tannins without covering it in vanilla.
Mhm.
So as we take a sip, does what I say make sense?
Yeah, because I feel like the tannins are more rounded.
And now, to be clear, American oak will round out those tannins as well.
Okay.
That's kind of a universal effect.
Okay.
But the American oak would give you a lot more vanilla, right? And I'm not saying there's no vanilla here,
Mhm.
but we're not dealing with a creme brulee vanilla bomb. You're getting, to me, a lot of spiciness and even a little pepperiness from this wine, which is a little bit more, it's from the wine, but also enhanced with the French oak.
Yeah, I get the pepperiness on the finish.
Mhm.
Mhm.
A nice cedar note on the nose, especially. And then I think tobacco leaf is a good description for this too.
Mhm. And then I'm gonna guess, Linda, bacon raisins as well. Mhm,
Yes, absolutely.
mhm. Oh, we have a new person joining us this
Yeah.
evening.
Julie,
Is it me, show?
If it didn't already warn me that this was being recorded, I would have a special finger to show you. Thank you for having us back. We're glad to be back. Soccer season is still going on, but we get here as soon as we can.
We
No,
are so
I'm very
happy.
happy to.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Have you started drinking?
We literally just walked into the door. Brian's making dinner for everybody. Lily's doing homework. Paul's who knows where.
Okay,
Excellent.
so
Hmm.
we're ahead of Julie
Alright.
for once.
Right.
Mhm.
All right. So we okay. So we have all right. So we've covered those some initial thoughts on those guys. I'd like to go a little deeper into the flavors.
Okay.
But I want to jump back and do the label first, and then
Okay.
we'll go into the flavors
Okay.
and aromas with a little bit more of a deep dive.
I realized I was just listening to you and drinking, and you were telling me subtly that I needed to put up the next slide.
All right. So wine label review. One of the things I wanted to cover here, this is a Cabernet Sauvignon, right? It says it on the label. That's one of the things that we can see. We see Sequoia Grove, Napa Valley. So, for me, this is that whole thing where we talk about if you're in a wine store and not getting any help and you're on your own. Well, if you want a really, most people are aware they can be confident if it says Napa Valley on the label, right? So I'd say that's pretty helpful.
Okay.
Right? So you say, and it's single varietal Cabernet Sauvignon. So, okay, I know Cabernet Sauvignon. I know Napa Valley. I feel confident in this wine. It's an easy label to kind of get you confident in what you're about to drink. Now, to go in a deep dive a little bit, because we covered a couple of weeks ago, and I'll be happy to do it again as we go through the year again, but we covered the labeling laws for the state of California. So when we covered that, when it comes to varietal content in California, you can label it Cabernet Sauvignon.
With 75% cap.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, 75% cap. So this one is not 100% Cabernet Sauvignon,
Okay.
though it is considered a Cabernet Sauvignon. 80% Cabernet Sauvignon, 11% Merlot,
Okay.
4% Cab Franc, 2% Malbec, 1% Petit Verdot, 1% Syrah, and 1% Grenache.
It just seems like 1% is so small. What effect does it have? It obviously has an effect on it, or they wouldn't add it, but.
Right. It's obviously very subtle. in,
Okay.
Building it in certain ways. Now, theirs is a culinary, kind of a culinary pairing goal with their wine, which is one of the reasons you will have some of these subtleties in here,
Okay.
which is a little more old world in styling. Honestly, I find the style of this wine to be a bit more French in styling, not just because of the oak. Obviously, that's super helpful. But the fact that there is a little bit of acid in this wine, there's a tartness to it, which makes it more food friendly because the acid and the tannins will play with the fats in a hearty steak, for example, and they will react in delightful ways.
Bacon cheeseburger.
That's right.
So if I went and got one of those pieces of bacon out of the refrigerator, that would work really well with this.
It would work well.
Okay.
The pork side of it, being not having beef to
Okay,
go with it,
right.
would leave you a little
That's
wanting.
why you would have to have the cheeseburger. part
Right.
with it.
Or
With
a
a
really,
burger.
or a nice big mushroom or something with it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Alright.
Something like that to get that earthy, savory side a little bit more.
Okay.
All right.
Do we have something good to pair with this evening? Or is it a bad pairing?
Tonight's is,
Do you remember what it is?
yeah, I do remember now that I think of it. It's not a good pairing.
Oh, okay. So I'll just drink the bottle without it.
That's right. Well, you know what? This one doesn't require that, right?
There you go.
It is still a new world product.
Mhm.
So alcohol content 14.9%. Age worthiness, which I haven't gotten into yet, right? Because I know I jumped around versus my notes a little bit. I wanted to make sure I wasn't repeating myself. Age worthiness, yes. All right, so what we have 14.9%, we got plenty of alcohol.
Right.
We have a tartness to the wine,
Mhm.
so we have some acid. We have tannins in this wine, so we got those. So this is one that is totally, because this is a 2019.
10 years?
This one's a 10 plus,
Or
right?
10
So-
plus,
yeah.
okay.
So ready to drink now.
Mhm.
It will evolve as we drink because it is young.
Okay.
We'll see more of a change than we would later on.
Okay,
But this could hang out 10, 15 years.
okay,
Mhm.
all right, great. So I have probably a really dumb question.
Mhm.
It's blended with Cab Franc as one of the secondary grapes.
Right.
Which is its parent, one of its parent grapes.
Right.
Okay. Do they ever blend it with Sauvignon Blanc, its other parent grape?
No,
Okay,
not that I've had.
okay,
Right. And not that I'm saying there are no red blends blended with some white or,
Okay.
so
yeah,
that does happen.
Okay.
I've had it with Shiraz and Viognier.
okay,
All right, which is coming off of, there are areas, in France that use, Syrah, which
Mhm.
Shiraz and Syrah are
Right.
the same. They do a Syrah Viognier blend.
okay.
Um,
Why? Like what?
it adds some tartness and lightness,
Okay,
to
okay.
the wine, and Viognier is a very aromatic, and it
Mm.
has it really jump out of the glass. And
Okay.
it's a minor amount of it because it's still a very intense red.
Mhm.
But there are blends that have white with the red, and yet it remains a white wine, a red wine, excuse me.
Okay.
Mhm. It
Okay.
doesn't make it a rosé.
Okay, just not enough of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, but I've never heard of Sauv Blanc being used.
Okay.
So maybe some Rousson or Marsan. I'm not quite sure if they would use those because it's done in the Northern Rhone, and that's the whites that are grown there.
Mhm.
But what I've seen is
It's like
Viognier.
Sauvignon Blanc too subtle or something.
Maybe I'm thinking not subtle enough.
Oh, okay.
Because it's
It would
intensely
might take
acidic.
over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, let's go do the back of the label. So, it gives you a nice little write-up about the vineyard on there. It is produced and bottled by Sequoia Grove, so
Okay, so
Is that-
another thing to tell us, it's
Right.
produced and bottled.
produced and bottled by them, so they are making this wine.
Mhm.
However, it does not say estate,
Right.
so they are purchasing some of the grapes. Now, some of it are their grapes,
Mhm.
but they're also purchasing some of these grapes.
But all of them are from Napa Valley, right?
All of them are from Napa.
Okay,
Right.
because if they have one outside of Napa Valley, then it's just California?
If it is more than 5%.
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
Alright.
Yep, if it was more than 5%, there's not, this is all within Napa.
okay,
But as long as it's under 5%, you actually can put some in from outside of the
Okay.
AVA that you're claiming.
all right.
That was one of the rules that we
Just
saw.
bring in
too.
some of those Missouri grapes.
Sure, that would be a bad idea, but just put in 2%, I guess you're okay.
Be like Crocodile Dundee when he's like, well, it tastes awful, but you can eat it. Yeah,
Right,
he didn't say awful, but
Right.
yeah. Next.
all right, let's stop sharing.
Okay,
And now let's kind of take a little bit more of a deep dive into what we're smelling and tasting. Right. So I kind of glossed over it real quick. I wanted to cover some of those things because I was going into which grapes are in here. So. And I will say Cab Franc lifts and elevates the aromas of a wine, the nose,
Mhm.
even in small amounts. So we have 4% Cab Franc, but honestly, I think it has an effect. Kind of lifts up that cedary, almost a floral note. It can be roses.
Mhm, I was just gonna say roses.
Okay, well, there you go. And that would be the Cabernet Franc.
Okay,
So Petit Verdot's probably giving it intense color.
all right,
All right. Syrah can also give intense color depending on how it's grown. This is probably going to be the side where it would give it more intensity. Darker, a little warmer growth on that Syrah. But we talked about how Syrah can be very different.
Mhm.
Cool growth Syrah is not quite as light as Pinot, but I've had it close.
okay,
Right. But warm growth Syrah is intensely dark. Right. So, and Grenache can be very, very dark and intense as well. So, cedar, I'd say the cedar on the nose and the palate.
definitely getting it on the nose. I have to try it again on the palate.
Anyone thinking cherry cola?
Well, I wasn't until you said that.
All
Careful.
Yeah, I think it's got a little bit, especially on the nose, a little zingy cola vibe. A little bit of a mocha, like a really dark mocha. So a lot of the classic hits, right? We're dealing with a well-made Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. And I don't want to gloss over it too much, but we've had these, right?
Right,
You know, because
right.
I mean, if you're an American, when you bump up and you grab something a little nicer, almost everyone's drinking a Napa Cabernet Sauvignon. Right? It's our signature grape, even though
No,
it's
it's
not.
That's Zin.
That's it. All right.
But it is the most popular one, right? Like in the United States, it's the most popular one. It's just not like we grow more Zin than anyone in the world. But as far
Right.
as like our most popular grape
Is
is
Cabernet
Cabernet
Sauvignon.
Sauvignon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes,
So it's
Americans
two
love.
different
It's two different
Yeah.
things. They're not the same thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. What are we actually the best at and the dominant at versus what do we actually consume?
Okay.
Right.
But
No.
we're pretty darn good at this too.
Oh, absolutely. Americans make fantastic Cabernet
Mhm.
Sauvignon. In my opinion, as an American, but still, but not the only ones. I mean, because
Right.
I've had amazing Cabernet Sauvignon from around the world, which is why I say no country can really claim it, even though the origin is France. So if anyone were going to claim it, the French certainly should
Sure.
have that crown,
Mhm.
right? So, but yeah, really nice. I like the acids in here. So it's not a tart wine, but it has a freshness to the fruit that's really going to play nicely with as a food wine. And that is something that it's important to them. We'll cover that again when we get into the winery itself. But this really does come across as more of a Bordeaux expression
Sure.
of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Mhm.
Mhm. So not just a big overripe beastie, full of vanilla and that, which I'm not saying I don't like those wines.
Like,
I'm not saying I don't like those wines. They're delicious, but they're different. Right.
yes.
That's a very new world
sure.
expression. This is a little bit more of an old world expression,
Mhm.
and that makes it friendlier for food pairings,
Okay.
where it won't really trounce what you're eating so much. So, and you get to be more flexible because of that.
Okay.
All right, so let's jump back to the slides. All right, Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet Sauvignon, origin southwestern France, right around the Bordeaux region, where it's most famous for being from in France. It was an accidental crossbreed between Sauvignon Blanc, a white grape, and Cabernet Franc in around the 1600s. And it made a more intense, so white plus red equal to more intense red,
Yeah.
which is always fascinating to me. Okay.
Yeah. You would think it would dilute it.
Right, yeah.
Right.
You would think you'd get something like, oh, well, now we have like a rosé grape that makes rosé without having to minimize skin contact.
Right.
Right. Something like Pinot Gris almost.
Mhm.
But no. It became a
No,
more intense
stop.
red grape. So it is now the most popular grape in the world, bar none. That has been during the 1900s, except for a short time in the 1990s.
Oh, he's
When-
covering up the paper, so I can't cheat.
A short time in the 1990s when which grape took the lead?
Well, I think Merlot took the lead until Sideways, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
So anyway, yes, exactly. Merlot actually displaced Cabernet Sauvignon in the 1900s, in the 1990s for a short amount of time, and then was decimated from the movie Sideways. So,
Yeah.
which led to the rise of which grape being replaced. They ripped out the Merlot and they replaced it with, we've covered this.
They didn't.
Anybody
replace
can
it with-
chime in.
They didn't replace it with Cab. I don't.
They did
remember.
not. I mean, obviously they replaced it with some more cab, but
Yeah.
it led to the rise of Pinot Noir.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Okay.
New World Pinot Noir.
Okay, I was gonna guess Syrah, but
Mhm.
yeah, okay,
Mhm.
that's right. I will try.
I just think it's a fun story. I'm not really trying to quiz anybody, but
Only me.
I just think it's like amazing these connections in the world, right?
Yeah.
And then you see what's going on because Pinot Noir is the #2 red grape.
Well, it is
Information.
amazing what an influence that had on
Mhm.
an entire industry. And,
Right.
you know, just because a character in a movie said that.
I want to drink wine with Paul Giamatti and ask him about this. That's what I want.
Oh, yes.
That's on my list.
He had that whole show about going through Italy and eating and drinking through Italy.
Does he?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
We should watch that.
Somebody will know.
All right, nice. All right. So that's what the grapes look like. And that's what it kind of looks like, even though I will say ours is a bit more intense.
I think ours is more purpley,
Right.
and that's more like maroon.
I agree, because that would be more of the color without any enhancements, and Petit Verdot darkens it,
Oh, okay.
and Syrah in this case.
Okay. I was going to call it garnet, but I called it maroon.
Thank you. I
instead.
appreciate that. We can keep people to the northwest in mind.
Okay, ready?
Yes. All right, so Cabernet Sauvignon, where in the world is it grown? Number one largest amount, France,
Mhm.
then Chile,
I'm surprised they're ahead of us.
right?
Yeah.
They grow a lot of it in Chile, United States, then Australia, Spain. Like, you think, really? Spain? And then China,
Oh, yeah.
Argentina, which I've had plenty of Argentinian cab.
Mhm.
I've had very, very little Spanish cab. Italy, those would be mostly Super Tuscans,
Okay.
right? And South Africa, plenty. I've had really nice South African Cabernet Sauvignon, and then others. So I think it's kind of a fun one. The next one's fun too.
The next slide.
The next slide is, all right, well, if Cabernet Sauvignon is number one, what does the world line up right now?
Mhm.
So Cabernet Sauvignon, just behind it, still Merlot.
Is it still, or has it battled back to that
It
place?
has battled back somewhat,
Okay.
but yeah. It never fell that far. It fell very far in the US.
Okay.
Right, but in the world, it was still very much
And
used.
then I'm guessing the next one is a white blending grape.
The next one, Aaron, is the white grape used to produce brandy.
Oh, okay. That's
So
right.
we actually have an Aaron in the store. I just brought a new one in, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The one we had before was an orange wine, which they're changing that. It's the name of a style,
Right,
it's not made of.
We had one.
Right.
Wow.
And we had an Aaron done in the orange wine style.
Mhm.
That one sold through. This one is not done in that style, but it is still a very unique and flavorful wine. Jake begged me to bring it in. He promised me he would sell it. I said, and it is delicious, it's just very unusual, right? So that's what Aaron is. Tempranillo, then Chardonnay,
Mhm.
Syrah, Grenache, either way. So you got Spain and France jumping in there with tons of Grenache production, right? Sauvignon Blanc, which is amazing to me because Sauvignon Blanc is such a hot grape in the United States.
Mm.
You know, that you see how much lower it is
Yes.
than Chardonnay in production. And then Trebbiano, which honestly, we need to drink some Trebbiano in here. I've got to.
I
bring
mean, the
that in.
person in charge of that should probably put it on our list at some point.
We'll drink some Trebbiano. We'll
Okay.
get some Emilio Pepe, and you guys will really be, oh, well, hello.
Okay.
As long as you guys don't mind spending $150 a bottle, so.
I'm thinking we'll skip that one for the wild grape.
Well, we'll just do it in the store.
Okay.
All right, and then Pinot Noir. There we go. But you hear so much about Pinot Noir. It's
Yeah.
crazy to see it so far
So
below
far
Merlot, Tempranillo. But that's us as a country, right?
Sure.
So if you're in Spain, you're thinking, well, of course I'm drinking Tempranillo and Grenache.
Maybe you can pull a slide next time that shows it in the US as well.
Sure.
Ready?
Yes. All right. Flavors to expect: black cherry, black currant,
Mhm.
which is black grapes, cedar, baking spices, graphite. I love when graphite is in there. Honestly, hadn't covered that yet. Let's check it out. Yeah, and I know people say it's the power of suggestion. I get that. But honestly, when you're pulling in and you're thinking about a lot of things at once, I think it's fair.
I think also sometimes I just don't recognize the flavor until you say, hey, think about cedar, think about graphite when when you're rolling it around in your mouth, and like, then all of a sudden I can identify it. Whereas before I can't identify the flavor.
Well, and honestly, also, I've been talking for a good 15 minutes since I had my last sip.
Oh, okay.
All right, so this has
So
changed. It's
yeah.
opened up. The tannins are a little more aggressive,
Mhm.
and there is definitely a nice mineral graphite quality. And this, I like this one because these are kind of classic stylings, and it blends what you would get from France in the New World. And
Alright.
this guy is doing the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. I really did. I know I could have said this during the introduction. Sequoia Grove moved distributors a while ago, and it kind of fell out. I used to carry it in the store all the time, and I was like, oh my God, Sequoia Grove, this stuff is so good. It's so reasonably priced for the quality.
Mhm.
This is this grand, like, re-welcoming. This will be in the store. This is a brand that I very much appreciate.
Mhm.
So
So this is when you were cleaning out all those old notes, you came across those?
yeah, well, it wasn't totally that the new rep came in and said, hey, by the way, remember you used to buy this? I think, oh my God, you're right. There's a lot of wine in the world,
Yeah, I get it.
but I don't like losing track of some of my favorite brands. So Sequoia Grove is going to be in the store. So dry, yes. Full bodied, yes. Really nice, good mouthfeel. Medium high tannin. Yep, this guy. To me, I'm going medium high, not high, right?
Mhm.
So
Oh, yeah,
it's a
for
medium
sure,
high.
medium high. Mhm.
Medium acidity, sure, I can go with that. It's a nice balance.
Mhm.
It's not making the wine tart, but the wine has a freshness of fruit.
Mhm.
And we're at 14.9, we're at the higher end of the ABV. Which makes sense in New World, we tend to be higher,
Okay,
a little riper area. We can get lots of sun, so
so it's like the warmer areas.
yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right, that's why Australia is,
Yes, Australia in particular.
because I know that they have very high ABV comparatively,
Right.
especially to Old World.
And then the challenge is to make good Cabernet Sauvignon. Well, yes, you want tons of sun, you want some warmth,
Mhm.
but you don't want it to ripen too soon
Right.
and make a sloppy grape.
Mhm.
You want time to pull up things from the minerality where we're getting graphite. Otherwise, you won't get that. Right?
Okay,
So that is the beauty of Napa Valley. It is one of those
that
special places.
longer hang time, taking
Long
longer.
hang time, but intensity of sun during the day. Quick cooling at night
Mhm.
because the Pacific Ocean brings fogs that run over, and
Okay,
so which we'll cover again in just a sec.
all right.
It's just a few slides away. All right, this grape is a black-skinned, white-fleshed
Mhm.
grape, which is the majority of grapes. There are some that are black
The
forest.
majority of red grapes.
The majority of red grapes,
Yeah.
right? Sorry. There are some red grapes that are black-skinned, red-fleshed, but
Mhm.
that is an unusual subset.
We had one of those.
We did.
Mhm.
So in this case, you're going to have a thicker skin and an intense peripheral zone with all those flavors. The intermediate zone with all those acids is going to be a little bit more subdued. It's something you almost have to preserve in your grape growing in order to make a better wine, or
Yeah.
it will go away.
Okay,
And then you would have no acid left and you get a flabbier wine. Those wines are out there.
yeah.
Cheap Cabernet with no acid left is very much out there.
So you use the term flabby. I don't think we have defined that in a while.
Yeah, right. And it's fun because it's not, but flabby meaning, if you have no grip, no tannin,
Mhm.
it's just kind of a fruity, lame,
To me,
inoffensive.
yeah, I feel like it's almost like water, like the way water feels going across my tongue instead of the way like
Right.
wine feels.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
I
because
feel like it doesn't have any presence really. It's
Yeah.
just,
and I throw in offensive to say, like, flabby is not to say a disgusting wine. It's just uninspiring,
Yeah.
It's just, all right, that was
there's not a lot of complexity.
that was
to it.
that was a beverage, it tasted like fruit, and now I feel silly.
So is flabby just a Jeffism or is it actually?
No, it's used.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, no, it's used. And,
Okay.
and really, it's usually for a lack of structure, right? So if
Okay.
you're dealing with just some medium bodied and especially something with no tannin
Mm-hmm.
and also no acid to pop.
Okay,
So you're lacking these kind of nice things that give you a little more to work with, make it, because there are some, like if it's really particularly tannic
Mhm.
and acidic at the same time, they'll call it crunchy,
oh, okay,
right?
we haven't had any of those.
No. Well, we might have, but I might not have said the word crunchy.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. Would you like for me to advance?
Mhm. Where are we? All right, so
I might have to move that thing out of the way. Yeah, it's gonna pop up. Hold on.
Thank you.
So you just grab it like that. There you go.
So, no stranger for us. We've been here before, right? Central part of the United States, or in the northern growing latitude, right in the center
Yep.
on the West Coast. Here we are in where's my stuff? The northern,
You want me to move that out of the way again?
no, it's okay.
Okay.
I was looking for my note here. Oh, it is right in the way.
I
Look at
told
that. Yeah, North Coast. We're in the North Coast right here, which you can see even close up. Right beside-
Okay.
Yes. Fair enough. If only, if only, so many things would be better. All right. So zooming in, we have over here, so here's Sonoma, here's Napa. The orange this is the Napa Valley right here. All right, and which if you can see it like I can, that says Rutherford, right in the center of Napa is where we are today. We're in Rutherford. Actually, I think over here, I thought this one was fun because I thought you could see it better, but honestly,
I don't
see
see
it better over there.
listed. Mhm.
So here we go. And here's Rutherford right here, just zooming in. Rutherford Bench. So it's like it's the center of Napa Valley.
Okay.
Like it's the center of the valley floor, it's the center of north to south. And this is, I like the topographical,
Yeah.
you know, we can take here's Rutherford up here.
Okay.
But you can see it's valley floor. I mean, you're going to get a little bit going on here in here, but for the most part, we're talking about a valley floor production. Honestly, the fact that we have some nice acidity, probably it speaks to me even more of using some of those other grapes,
Mhm.
because valley floor Cabernet Sauvignon can be really fruit forward.
Okay.
Right. But this is not. This is a really
No,
nice
it's
balanced
not.
wine.
But it has 20% other grapes.
It
so,
does,
mhm.
right. So let's see here. Long dry growing season allows a long hang time. It's how long those grapes can stay on the vine before you have to pick them. You have those warm days followed by rapidly cooling nights because of the Pacific Ocean cooling from the west, rolling in. And so it turns off that ripening at night. To slow it down, has to start all over again in the morning, starts out with morning fog again and slowly lifts and warms, and then it begins. So you want that long time without rain to dilute the juice, and with good minerality in the soil. So we're dealing with clay-based soils in this area, which would be the one on the left. So you're probably dealing with sand and clay for the most part.
Can we go back just a moment?
Mhm.
So this is soil types, but these are soil types like that grapes grow in?
Yeah, in general, around the
Right.
world, right? So
Okay.
the silt's going to be more if you're close to a river.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever covered silt.
We've had some silt in
Have
some of
we?
the, when I talk about the alluvial fan, right?
Okay.
Which is a wonderful term for pebbles and silt.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Pebble, silt, and sand in alluvial fan deposited from the river.
You have to say it that way.
Oh, absolutely.
required. Mhm.
It's poetry and wine.
It's.
All right. It's poetry and wine.
We're all gonna start just making like collections of your
Of my,
quotes.
I tell you,
There's
honestly,
poetry in wine.
you know, we've been doing this a couple of years and I'm just feeling like I want to inject more of my personality into these things. I don't think it can hurt. These people haven't quit on me yet.
Watch, they'll drop off in droves.
Um,
Ready?
yes,
Okay.
next one, please. All right, Sequoia Grove Winery. What an ugly place. Who would ever want to go there?
Right? Oh,
Right.
it's just gorgeous.
And by the way, Sequoias,
I see,
right,
yes.
there they
yes.
are.
Aptly named.
Right. They had a lot of information on their website, so I actually just wrote sea slides, right? Because I just took a bunch of screenshots.
Right.
And we have
A
a video class.
Okay,
All right.
cool.
So next one, please. All right, this is right off of their tasting room. There's an inside area, but I just thought it was gorgeous.
Yes,
It just makes me want to go there. And look, there's a sequoia right there.
that's so cool.
Right.
Mhm.
Want to go.
Ready?
Mhm. All right, winery's born. Present day winery is on 24 acres. So they make a good amount of wine. The
Mhm.
fact that they're only on 24 acres shows that they're working with some of their local neighbors
Mhm.
and buying grapes. 24 acres of estate, part of the original Rancho Camus land grant in 1836 to George Yount, the area's first European American pioneer. Over the years, it's changed hands. The following year, anyway, opened up a winery, 100-year-old barn. That was the origins, from the 70s.
Okay.
So here's a good picture of what it looks like today,
Yeah.
which is awfully pretty.
Mhm.
All right, next one, please. All right, still 24 acres, right? And they have a second estate, the 50-acre Tonella estate. They're both in Rutherford, so
Okay.
they're both right there. They love the combination of climate, gravelly, loamy soils. The gravelly, loamy is the other place because the clay and the sandy were in the
Sequoia
main
Grove.
description, right?
So the other place is the Tonella
The
estate.
Tonella,
That's
yeah.
the gravel.
So,
Okay.
and they grab from multiple different ones. So you're dealing with Cabernet Sauvignon grown in different soil types.
Okay.
Though I will say, for the most part, in Napa Rutherford, we were dealing with the clay. with the
Okay.
clay. So, but not that that's that important. You know what? They all have different levels of minerality. They all have one thing in common, right? Low organic material.
Low organic material, and that they don't hold on to the moisture.
Right. So
It's not like Florida clay.
right. Yeah. It's not going to be gummy and gumball,
Yeah.
So.
Ready?
Yep. All right. Farming for the future. They are certified Napa Green. So
Okay. What does that mean?
it's a whole list of things. We'll just call it certified, that they're doing what they can to limit the amount of electricity they're using, to be good to the earth, to make sure that they're not putting any pesticides or anything into the water system,
Okay.
that kind of a thing.
So this is a different certification than being organic.
It is different. This is more of a local certification.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So I'm guessing that this is a certification that you can get without having to take a year off of
Right.
production.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's the thing with the organic, is they come in, they measure the soil,
Mhm.
what's in the soil, they make you skip a season of production, measure it again, and then let you commence, and that's brutal.
Yeah, no, it seems to me like you could do that without skipping a season. You just, okay, for the next 2 seasons, you're not allowed to call yourself organic yet until we've tested the soil, and it's, I
I'm
don't
not sure.
have to take off from making
And
any money from it.
That was the description I read, and I haven't actually talked to any of the farmers about it,
Yeah.
though they normally say that the cost is prohibitive.
Mm,
So that I've heard.
yes.
I'm not sure if you can sell your grapes to someone else who's not going to label it organic,
Okay,
or,
okay. So
maybe it's not
possibly-
100%.
Possibly there are ways.
Yeah, I'm
around.
not quite sure.
Okay. All right, next.
Yes, please.
Hey, one day I would like to try that wine that has, from the winery, that has the ducks that run through it and eat all the pests.
Oh, it's in South Africa.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we should do that one.
I will look to see if we have that as an option in the
Okay,
state of
all right.
Florida. Mhm. All right. So one of the things they wanted to tell the story, they wanted to taste like the area. What this really is, the point here is they want it to taste like Rutherford, Napa Valley. They want the terroir to shine through. They want the grapes to show, which one of the things, it's not covered in a bunch of oak,
Mhm.
right? So they want you to know where you're drinking from. So, yeah, next one.
Okay.
And also that they want it to be, it's very important to them that it pairs well with food, and actually they have an amazing restaurant
I was
as
gonna
part of their
ask you.
property. So,
Okay,
yeah,
great.
next one. All right. So state-of-the-art production, they really are sustainable, and they make sure all their partners are sustainable, and they're really getting the most out of their grapes. So, all right, commitment to quality. All right.
Yeah.
You know what? I would expect so.
Ah,
So here we are. Let's let Mike tell us about Sequoia
Okay.
Grove.
Napa Valley Cab has been part of Sequoia Grove's program since the inception. Some of the best grapes, some of the best growers, one of the best values in Napa Valley. Napa Valley at its best. The grapes that make up the Napa Valley Cab are sourced from many different areas. And we believe that the blending of these different appellations is what brings the complexity to this wine. Cabernet has a lot of fruit forward and many earth tones that come forth in the wine. You know, Rutherford especially kind of has some earthiness to it.
Sorry.
So food that's complemented with things such as mushrooms or some root vegetables will always go really, really well with Cabernet Sauvignon. The balance, the richness of this wine, without a doubt, over delivers.
I mean,
Boom, done.
yeah, I could saute some mushrooms. We have mushrooms.
That we do. Some
Yeah.
nice ones.
This is the next slide.
That's the next slide.
Okay, would you like me to stop? For a
Yes,
moment?
please.
Okay.
All right, so that is the show. Hopefully you guys have been composing your thoughts, enjoying the wine. We have a hand up from Linda or Paul.
It's from me. I've actually got two things, but I'm gonna just ask this real. Saw a nice big old fan in that video. What's that fan doing?
In the thing, yeah. So
In the vineyard. In the
the
vineyard.
vineyard, yeah, I would guess. I mean, that is more likely to be for the workers than for anything else. I mean, in Florida, it would be to move the air so you wouldn't have humidity build up, but that's not a concern there. So I honestly, I mean, unless they had thousands of them,
They may have, I know that a lot of places here we're closed and air conditioned, but I think there they have a lot of places that aren't air conditioned at all. So they're just moving in that way.
could be moving air. I'll tell you the other thing, because I know people that have brought in a harvest. I don't know if they do this, but one of the problems when you're bringing in a harvest of grapes is bugs out there, but they're not like the bugs we're thinking of with mosquitoes and all these things. They don't have those, but they have a ton of hornets
Oh,
and wasps, and they love sweet grape juice. And so if you had a breeze blowing, it would really help that. So it could be that too. I honestly am not quite sure why they have the fan going, but it's got to be something very concentrated. So it would make sense to me if you moved it, you're picking from that area, you move it again. I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
Not the stupid question I have you ready to go, but I'm gonna save it for a little bit.
Okay.
okay. Just a teaser there
That's right.
about it.
Would you like me to top off your wine?
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any
right.
other questions or
Or
wonderings or
Thoughts about how it paired with your food?
thoughts
or
or
anything?
what you paired it with?
Right. If you did it with crab claws, you missed the point.
Is that what our dinner is tonight?
It's-
As you know, my mom makes it for us, so we, and she's an excellent cook, but we don't tell her what to pair it with because we
Right.
want her to keep cooking for us. So
Right, yeah.
we are
I'm
not
picky.
being choosy.
I'm not gonna do it. So, all right, so this was given a 92 points. Let's go ahead and go to the old description of points, what they do and what they do not mean.
Okay,
Given 92 points, they put it in the outstanding category. They're going to be looking at a combination of, did I enjoy the wine? Is the wine good for a Cabernet Sauvignon? Is the wine good for a Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon? Is the wine good for a Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon at this price point, right? So it's kind of the layering effect of where you would look at it. So keeping those thoughts in mind, what are your thoughts on what you would rate this wine? You think it's very good? You think it's a little outstanding? Does it have some qualities that would make you come back?
would you like for me to stop?
Sure, why not? Let's
Okay.
go ahead and stop it and we'll see what you guys think.
Put in those wine scores.
This is nice, gives me a minute to have a really long sip.
Brian, a 95, loves the earthiness.
Wow,
Wow, Brian, I mean, imagine Brian 2.5 years ago.
I know,
He might not have thought that.
honestly.
Okay. Jerry at
Taught him
92.
so well.
What'd you say?
You guys have taught him so well.
I
There
know.
you go.
I'm feeling very proud right
I feel like a refined gentleman right now.
now.
So Jerry at 92,
Mhm.
the group of four all think 91, 92 from Paul, Chris at 90, Cheryl at 91.
Mhm.
We're just
Wow.
waiting for Dr. Fricker and Taja. Or maybe they don't want to share.
That's right. They could.
93, and I
All
would
right.
agree with them, 93.
Really good one, 93, 93, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, I think especially at this price point, which I know you don't know, you never know, but you know, they all know. Because we don't like to mention it, you know,
In the
on the
video,
recording.
Mhm.
So very reasonable for Napa Valley
Okay,
and great complexity. I love the style choice. I like the nod to Bordeaux
Mhm.
and not just going with a bunch of, you know, buying whatever grapes and covering them in oak and stamping Napa on there
right.
and saying, okay, that counts.
Mhm.
You know, this is quality wine.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I like. So I think it's the nexus of a lot of things that make me happy.
Yay.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I liked it too at 93.
Mhm.
I don't get very many things at 93.
You know.
So, okay.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
I'm
Ready?
glad everyone liked it. I thought they would.
I'm wondering what your next slide says, because I know what's happening next week.
Oh, no, the next slide is the thank you to our sources.
Oh, that's right.
All right. So thank you, Wine Folly. Always amazing resource for everybody. 750.com, Wikipedia, wine.com, and Sequoia Grove Winery.
This is our shortest list in a long time.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so
All right. So
next week.
next week's wine is, we are not doing a wine next week because it is Christmas.
Right.
This is the week after. I
Okay,
did this on purpose
okay,
because I never don't get the opportunity to talk about it.
okay,
Right.
okay.
And so in the past, when we were skipping a week for a holiday,
Mhm.
then I would just leave nothing and say, hey, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. But
Mhm.
then I never get to discuss that wine at all.
Right.
And I already know what it's going to be
Okay.
because I am that far on my game. That's right, on point. So Telmont Reserve Brut. I'm proud of myself.
No, you should be. That's
Champagne, true champagne.
true champagne from the region of
If
Champagne.
if it was not from Champagne, it would not be champagne.
Yes.
Don't get me started. So wine ratings, Willy Wong 92, Decanter 91.
Okay,
I actually love the label on this, which I know I'll end up discussing it because it looks like what you would see in like a French bistro with a locally
Oh,
produced
yes.
wine.
Mhm.
It gives a ton of information, which will be fun to discuss. So that will be the 27th.
Okay,
That will be the Tuesday before New Year's. So
Right.
perfect time for us to drink some champagne together.
Yeah.
Food
absolutely.
pairings, oysters on the half shell, fried chicken is so good with, with champagne. It really is.
I think we did a tasting like that with sparkling.
We
one
did,
time.
we did.
Yeah,
It's
fried
great.
chicken, yeah.
Buttered poached lobster and mushroom and shallot risotto.
Yeah, so if you want to go pick up some chicken fingers from Publix.
You gotta have at
and
least
go
Publix
with all
quality.
this. Yeah,
I don't want any bullshit frozen stuff.
we're recording.
Oh, sorry. Anyway.
Beep.
All
Okay,
right.
so and I'll stop the share a moment. We do have an in-store tasting on Sunday. So
Mm.
we don't have a virtual tasting next Tuesday, but we do have an in-store tasting on
That's right. The
Sunday.
in-store tasting is on Sunday at 7:30 PM,
And that is
Sunday, the 18th.
our holiday tasting. So it's some.
It
big wine.
is
Yeah.
the best lineup of wine I've ever been able to put together for one tasting. There are 4 wines in there that are allocated that I got released for us that we've never been able to have in the store ever in 12 years.
Wow.
This is some serious stuff, and I am very excited about the lineup. So should you have time on Sunday, it may be a valuable time to spend with friends drinking some amazing wines.
I'm looking
10
forward to it.
wines with food pairings.
Mhm.
So it'll be a great night. And on that note, let's toast, and then, you know, 4-letter words can start again, since I already threw one out there.
Right.
All right.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks for joining us.